Good afternoon, everyone. I, CA Pragya Jain, on behalf of the Professional Skill Enrichment Committee of ICI, welcome all the participants in today's webcast. Skillful Networking, Unlocking Opportunities for Business Expansion. First of all, we welcome our today's resource person, CA Gaurav Goyalji, and other present over here. And it's a great privilege me to introduce today's speaker, CA Gaurav Goyalji. He is an accomplished audit and risk management professional with more than a decade of experience in internal audit, internal controls, and compliance functions across the consulting, telecom, and medtech industries. He has worked with leading organizations such as KPMG, Nokia, and Stryker, where he has led global audit engagement and managed multiple regional teams, strengthening governance, process efficiency, and control frameworks. Gaurav ji is also the author of the Amazon bestseller Dig in the Well. Well, your path to success in internal audit, a practical guide widely appreciated by finance and audit professionals for its real world insights and structure approach. He is passionate about developing the next generation of auditor and enabling professional to build meaningful value driven networks. So we once again we welcome you, Goyal sir, and the webcast is yours. We are eagerly waiting to listen you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Pragya ma'am, for this humble introduction. Uh, and I'm really thankful for this opportunity. This topic is very close to my heart, and will definitely strive to add value through today's session. I am sharing my screen. Please let me know once the screen is visible. Okay, thank you. So, welcome everyone to the session. And as introduced by Pragya ma'am, in today's session, we are going to be focusing upon how to connect strategically, how to grow your influence, foster relationships which will help you gain business edge, how to leverage contacts, unlock hidden opportunity, build trust, expand market reach, so on and so forth. To be able to do that, we will have some stories, some stories from how I have personally used networking as a tool to grow and expand my reach, and also what is marketing, then why should we use, sorry, what is networking and why should we use networking, and then finally how to network better. And we have a framework for that which will help us broadly understand and to be able to remember also how we can network better. So networking is a silent revenue engine. It helps you thrive your practice and expand business. The professionals who are practicing, we know we cannot advertise, so as to say. So the word of mouth, the quality of work that we deliver, the trust that people have in our work is the cornerstone for our flourishing practice. And the relationship will form the audit trail of trust amid, amid shifting regulations and rising client expectations. The Professional Skill Enrichment Committee has a vision wherein the chartered accountants are urged to go beyond the traditional fields of audit, compliance, and also in order to expand their horizon, to be able to influence, to have visibility, and to have relational leadership. In this economy, wherein a lot of things are dependent upon relationships, how you connect and connecting with intent essentially empowers you to shape the market, steer opportunities, and build lasting trust. Now, before we move on to the rest of the presentation, let me share an example with you. In August 2020, I was around, it was around 2 years after I had qualified on my chartered accountancy exams, and I had big dreams and I wanted to be a CEO of a global organization. And to be able to achieve that, I wanted to have somebody who can mentor me and help me reach there. Now, how do I do that? I opened my LinkedIn account and started searching for profiles of people who have actually reached to a certain level in their careers or essentially have become what I aspire to become. They are leading big organizations or they have massive practices of their own. So I created a very simple LinkedIn message saying, this is what I have done so far. This is what I aspire to be. And I would really help. It would really help. And I would uh, really appreciate if you can take out some time and we can have a small chat. And if you could guide me through the path how I can reach there. I sent that message to around 20 people. It took me around 3 days because I was identifying. So entire weekend was gone into this activity. I was identifying people, sending them messages, trying to reach the right set of people. Then I waited, and within a week, I got response from five such individuals, and I had really beautiful conversations with those people. One person recommended 3 to 5 books which he felt were really essential in developing an understanding of how organizations work and what is needed to build a good organization and to be a good leader. So as I started reading those books, I called back that person, texted him that this is what I learned from this book. Can you suggest me another one? And started building that relationship. Now, amongst those five people who called back, there was a person, CA Abhijit Sanskri sir. He's from Mumbai. Now, sitting in Delhi, because of technology, I had the advantage to reach somebody whom I have never met, but he was very interested with what I had proposed. So we set up a time. I shared my contact with him. He called me back, and then we discussed. So he was really fascinated with the ambitions that I have and was really interested in helping me. So he suggested that to be able to develop soft skills, I should be doing certain courses or more importantly, meet a certain set of people who can help me develop these skills better. So then once I know that this person has all the right things in his mind and with the right intent he's trying to support me, I started following what he wanted me to do. So there were different things he suggested me to read, watch, discuss, and from there on we developed a very good relationship on a personal front. 2 years after that, he was the person whom I invited to my wedding. Now there couldn't have been any scenario wherein I would have met him other than how we met. So we formed a good bond and we continued to stay in touch. Then this year in 2025, which is essentially 5 years after our first engagement, I decided that since I am writing a book, I want I want him to write the preface of the book for me and share his inputs. So I reached out to him. He looked at my book, shared multiple inputs, which further improved the book. He wrote preface, and then he suggested that, how are you planning to launch this book? Now, my view was that maybe the book would get ready by 10th or 12th of July. And on that date, maybe we can do some Zoom webinar and launch the book. But then he shared that why not do it on CA day on 1st of July? Because essentially the book is for CA students. and young CA professionals. So the idea was very interesting. I pushed the publisher to wrap up everything within or before 1st of July so that I can have a few copies of the book with me when we launch the book. Then he gave another suggestion that why don't you reach out to CA Charanjit Nanda sir, Honorable President of ICI, for the book launch? Why don't you present first copy of the book to him? Now, for me, that was something which was unthinkable, and I couldn't imagine reaching out to him. So he shared his contact number with me and probably texted him as well that I would be reaching out to him. Then I reached out to Sir. Sir was gracious to call me to the office on this very busy day. Me and my wife went to ICI Bhavan in ITO on 1st of July. We sat there, and once his meeting was done, he called me in, and what I expected to be a 2 to 3 minutes engagement, handing him the book, getting a few pictures clicked, it actually turned out to be a 1 hour long conversation wherein I got this opportunity to interact with CA Institute president and all of his council members. We talked about a variety of topics, and then leveraging the CA day, I went on to the official ceremony which we had later during the day, and there I got to meet a lot other professional colleagues and shared copies of book with them and interact with them. So this essentially made the book launch way bigger than what I had expected. And this is the power of network. Something which I couldn't even have imagined was made possible because I interacted with a person 5, 6 years back with another objective altogether, and we continue to have a relationship. Now, there hasn't been a single instance wherein I have economically done anything to benefit Abhijit sir, or he hasn't gained anything economically out of me. It's just a personal or professional bond that we have developed over the years. There's trust and there's mutual acknowledgement of our individual expertise, and we believe what we do. And he also has a interest in growing uh, in my professional and personal growth. Now, this kind of relationships takes time to foster. And this is one example wherein me as well as Abhijit sir have done a lot of things which, if you strictly go by networking, when you look at webinars or when people meet in forums like WOFA, so as to say, people carry bunch of their cards, and their sole motive is to distribute as many cards as possible, to shake hands with people and then just share those cards with them. Now, the outcome from those cards is that it is very difficult to recall who has given you that card, and would you actually reach out to that person in the future, the probability is very low. Similarly, when we look at it from the other side, if we are the ones who are doing it, would we get a call back? Uh, that is highly unlikely. Now, during this session, our objective is going to be how to network and how to do it meaningfully so that we can leverage it for meaningful impact as well. So the session outcomes would include moving beyond chance encounters, crafting purposeful alliances which are elevating your professional footprint. Transform the contacts into your companions, partners, advocates who can actually amplify your credibility. And it is equally applicable for both people who are into practice or are doing jobs with corporates and other organizations. Then leverage hidden opportunities which are received by tapping into invisible corridors of referral, projects, and collaboration. Build trust through authenticity to expand reach, strengthen mandates, and anchor long-term engagements. Now, authenticity is something which is again a cornerstone of how we will be developing meaningful networks, which can actually help us achieve what we aim to achieve. Now, trust is a form of capital which accelerate not just deal, but any other transaction. It could be a social transaction also, more than the financial capital and professional ecosystem. So let me give you another example. If somebody asks you that, hey, I have a problem. Let's say you have recently built your home and you engaged with seven different type of contractors. It could be a civil contractor, plumber, electrician, carpenter, so on and so forth. Now, if somebody else will ask you that I am building, I am renovating my home, and can you please recommend somebody because I am new to this place or haven't done this in the past. Now, whom would you recommend? So your criteria would be based on two basic things. One, whether the person you are recommending has demonstrated the capability to deliver quality outcome. And secondly, how was your overall relationship during that entire transaction with that person? Was it smooth or you had to follow up multiple times? Was there a lot of rework? And whether that person offered good economic value, might not be the cheapest, but still you got the desired results or not. So unconsciously, we develop a certain sort of reputation for people based on that which we refer them. Similarly, we will have to identify certain areas of expertise wherein we will have to firstly build excellence in that particular domain and then demonstrate them on a consistently on a regular basis so that the people who are around you are able to acknowledge and based on that past experience are able to refer you whenever that similar topic comes to their mind or comes in their discussions. So that is very essential, and building competence and developing expertise and excellence in your particular domain is very essential if you want to gain meaningful outcomes from networking. You should be known for something so that whenever somebody is talking about that particular thing, the only name that comes to their mind is yours. So please make sure that you identify one such area or two such areas and then relentlessly focus on developing or building excellence in that particular domain. And once you have that reputation, it travels farther than your resume and it opens doors not just within the country, it opens doors internationally. The CA profession spans borders, it spans functions and cultures, and it requires broad relationships. Given my work experience, having worked with people across the globe, I can say that the kind of rigor we have, the attention to detail we have, and hard work that the CA community is willing to put in any work that makes us stand apart. Now, what is needed is the ability to communicate that, do that consistently, and do that in a meaningful way so that people across the globe start appreciating it and reach and they acknowledge your name and understand that if this is the topic, you are the person to reach out to. The visibility and active engagement will drive opportunities in the era of digital acceleration. Now, here's another example which I would really love to quote. 5 years back, rather 4 years back, me and another friend of mine, whom I met during articleship days, we started doing a series of these days we call it podcast, but then back then we used to call it interviews with people who are building their practices, and we discussed with people who are building their practices in tier 2 tier 3 cities of India and others as well for our YouTube channel. Now there was this person, CA Vivek Avasthi. At that time when we met him, he was trying to build his practice, um, which was focused upon taxation, and he created another YouTube channel called FinTax Pro to be able to do that. And his take was very different. He said that it is very difficult for me to compete sitting in my own office with people who are already there and filing tax returns and doing tax related assessments and other work, because I am starting out as a fresher. But I know that if I consistently build quality content to make things easier for to understand and to implement for fellow CA professionals as well as my clients, then I think I can add some value. So 2 years on a consistent regular basis, every week, every 3 days, every week, there was a video on a latest topic. At that time when GST was, we used to receive one or two clarifications and notices from GST authority every now and then. The day any guidance comes, any notice comes, uh, he was the first person to study that meticulously and create a YouTube video on that topic, put a post on LinkedIn, and practically showcase using by sharing his screen on the GST portal itself how this impact is reflecting, simplifying things for his audiences, which enabled him to grow his practice and build a pan India practice within a span of 5 years. Now he has thousands of followers on both YouTube as well as LinkedIn. And from those followers, he was able to create a funnel wherein he was able to get multiple clients. Now, sitting in Delhi, he is serving clients in Jammu Kashmir as well as in Kerala because his focus was to leverage the digital platforms that we have today. But he started out by delivering value, by adding value to the prospective clients and to the fellow CA community. And he did that consistently with the intent to educate. That positioned him very well. So now he was recognized as an expert, as a subject matter expert on that particular topic. And because he was communicating that very effectively and consistently, he got multiple opportunities because of that. So this another example showcase how we can really leverage the social media platforms that we have to have ample visibility for the kind of work we are doing. Now people have started using Instagram. You might be seeing a lot of lawyers, doctors building awareness. And what that also is doing, in addition to creating a social impact, that is also creating visibility for them and establishing them as subject matter experts. I also try and follow similar approach on internal audit. Um, be very active on groups wherein we have forums where we discuss about audits, about compliance, about FCPA on LinkedIn as well. So, so that is how this is one example which these examples can help you understand that how you being authentic and consistent can really help you develop your network way faster and have meaningful network around you. Now, what networking really is and is not. Now, it is the art of building relationships that are outlasting transactions through mutual uplift. Here, the intent is that we both want to grow together. If your intent is to get something out of me, then that transaction might or might not last. If we really want to build a meaningful connection, then we should start by giving first and then expecting later on. Rather, I would go even a step further and saying that it is driven by giving without expectation. So you are creating a value exchange loop with compounding opportunities. You are sending out signal that you are there, you are willing to help others, and by doing so, you are collecting trust, not just business cards. You are collecting trust, you are building a reputation for yourself, and you will get acknowledged. And these things come in different ways, different forms in the future. Networking is, it means offering relevance and not seeking attention. If the sole purpose of me doing something is to get attention and say, hey, I did this, I am great, I'm a subject matter expert on this thing, so you should pay attention to what I'm saying, and I should be heard, and this and that. If the sole motive is to seek attention and get that limelight, then it doesn't really make sense. It has to be about relevance. What is relevant for my audience? We should not be speaking, we should not be talking, writing about what our what we want to say, but rather understand what our audiences want to listen and then craft our message accordingly. Similarly, while networking, if you'll reach out to a person and say that I am this, I am that, I am doing this, I am doing that, and that's all about me. What about you? Before the other person finishes, you want to move on to the next person so that you can repeat the script again to the other person. That is essentially a sheer wastage of your time and resources. You could have identified or cherry pick certain sort of people with whom you want to network and have meaningful conversations with them. So the objective is not just to exchange cards, but learn from each other and have meaningful relationships. And those relationships will most definitely uh, bring much relevant opportunities and sustainable opportunities. Networking promotes shared elevation, and it's not just about self promotion. Long term research has confirmed that a network's predictive power over skill set is there to be able to achieve success. If you are in a company of people who are upskilling themselves and taking themselves to the next level, you will automatically move towards the next level. Uh, there's a saying that you are average of five people around you. So the better network you build, you have higher chances to be able to succeed because there teamwork comes in. So 1 plus 1 becomes 11. And that's how we can grow at a much faster pace and in a more sustainable way. Many chartered accountants also hesitate to network due to fears of awkwardness or insincerity. Now, here, when we talk about insincerity, like I already mentioned, that people are in a hurry to exchange card and not really willing to listen what the other person has to say. Now, if you don't have time to listen to what other person has to say, it will be reciprocated by the other person in some way or the other. If you show meaningful or real interest in understanding the other person, then you will have meaningful conversations and that person will have interest in your well-being, in your growth, in your development. So you should always strive to focus on what can I give, how can I create value. So your focus should shift from what can I gain to how can I create value. And then the benefit of this mindset shift will automatically enable the long-term success and gain. Now, if all this is sounding theory, let me assure you that this is something which actually deliver results. Because if you are authentic, then you will not have any hesitation. If my sole motive is only to get something out of you, I might hesitate in telling about my expertise, in telling about what I can offer. So I will not be positioned very clearly because I know my only intention is to get something out of you. But if I am curious, we will have a meaningful conversation. We will have a dialogue. It's not just me speaking. We'll discuss, we'll have a conversation. I might get to know certain things about the other person, and based on that, I might refer the other person if some opportunity comes up in the future. Now, these referrals really create an impact on building an even more meaningful relationship, and people reciprocate if they get referrals. I'm talking about referrals. Here's another example. So, CA Onam Agarwal, um, I met her uh, during in a forum. It's called Professional Speakers Association of India (PSAI), wherein the community tries to build speakers who can actually do that professionally. And we interacted since we were both chartered accountants. We had a lot of conversations and we understood about each other, and then during those conversations a certain level of trust developed. So when an opportunity came, specifically let's say for this session, she referred me because she in her mind had the belief, had the trust that I should be able to deliver this. Why? One, because I have demonstrated that in our PSI networking sessions wherein I gave multiple speeches that I can deliver, and the kind of dialogue we had shared the understanding that I would be able to contribute meaningfully on this topic. So networking, and there hasn't been, I haven't prior to this, I haven't reached out to her specifically asking for referral, but I was the person who came to her mind. And now that she has referred me for something, this thing will always stay in mind. And whenever I find something relevant, subconsciously her name will pop up in my mind that she should be the person whom I should refer, or whom I can check if she is interested in this thing or not. So these referrals, when once you have meaningful conversations, you go with authenticity, uh, you are able to meet people, like-minded people, and opportunities start coming up on its own. And consistency fosters lasting trust. So, going back to this example, had I been late, or had I been not delivering this session, or maybe if there's anything wrong which goes with this session, then she wouldn't refer me the next time around. But if I consistently deliver, on this thing, then there would be a lasting trust. And then, without a doubt, for even bigger engagements, the name that would come to her mind would be mine. Another example, going from this to practice. Now, if there is one person who is consistently delivering good results to their clients, and if somebody asks me that, hey, do you know somebody who can look after my accounting, or do you know somebody who can have a look at my um, GST or income tax filing? So if I know somebody and I have seen them working day in, day out, and they are consistent, my reputation is also at stake. So once I know that I can really trust the other person, then only I will refer that other person. Otherwise, I would say that maybe let me just check and I'll get back to you. And I might not refer anybody. For job referrals also, if you have actually worked with someone and they have demonstrated during that period that they can actually consistently deliver meaningful results and they are very competent, then you might go out of the way in recommending that person, and that referral might help them land a job which they might not have even expected to land. So you would get referrals, and you would be able to make the most out of your networks when you consistently deliver, and your consistency is able to then convert into trust. Now, networking essentially helps in unlocking a altogether different type of capital, which is called social capital. Now, you will be able to have bonding capital. You would have bond with a close inner circle, people who are supporting you, challenging you, thereby strengthening trust and stability. Now, you would have a core group of people whom you can rely upon, and these people are not essentially your friends or family members. These could be the people whom you've met through different forums, and later on, based on mutual trust, mutual respect for each other, and acknowledgement of what you are doing, and if the values are aligned, eventually you will have meaningful relationship, and you bond with certain set of people. As a career professional, as a move from one organization to the other and then to the third one or fourth one, there are people with whom I've bonded, and that bond I've carried till now. And these relationships are like little plants which you need to water time and again. You need to revisit. You need to cherish those memories. Uh, Take out time to connect with those people, have meaningful conversations, and just interact for the sake of it, because at this moment they might not turn up into opportunities, but eventually they will. But the primary objective should be able to bond if you find that both of your value system or overall compatibility is there. Now, bridging capital. You might have expertise in one domain, the other person might have expertise in another domain. You might refer each other for that kind of work. When having discussions, it provides a platform where you can explore new ideas, access new markets, and develop your practice. Linking capital, like I discussed in the very first example, you can find mentors or leaders who open the door to opportunities which are way beyond your current reach. Now, this linking capital is also very interesting because um, now this is for job referrals, because I do get a lot of resume every time CA enter or CA final results come in. Um, at times I am not able to refer those people to some organization, but I do try and take out time to review their resume, share inputs on how we can make it better. But what I have seen is, with me and with other people also whom I have reached out asking for guidance and mentorship, if I go to them with the sole purpose that here is my resume, please refer me to some organization, the chances are less likely that I would get a positive response or any response at all. Or at best, if the person is humble enough, they might say that they'll check and let me know. But on the contrary, if I approach with a learning mindset, if I reach out to the person asking that I really appreciate what you've done in your life. Now, I want to use this as an opportunity if you can take out 10-15 minutes of your time and if we can discuss and you can share how have you achieved all this and what can I do to achieve similar kind of results. And one thing, let me tell you, people really like talking about themselves and how they've done, share their experiences, and give back to the society. Now, this is one way in which many leaders today want to help the next generation or young professionals. They are willing to help, but the idea is how we are reaching out to them. Even on LinkedIn, when we see um, people generally or typically, you would like some post or a great post, great presentation below the post of a person whom you want to have a connection with. Um, um, Also, for recruiters post, people do that a lot. Now, if you want to really connect meaningfully, another hack for LinkedIn, you should firstly connect with people who really inspire you, or you connect with them on some level, and then you should actually take out time to go through their post and give a meaningful comment on their post. Now, if you spot somebody who has uh, put meaningful comments which are really relevant with the post that is there on 3 to 4 posts of yours, you start remembering that name. Now, once you start remembering that name, you interact with that person more freely. Now, if you find a message of that same person in your DM, hey, can we connect over a coffee if you're in the same city, or can we connect virtually over phone call or Teams call? And maybe it would be interested to speak to each other and learn about things of sort. The other person would be equally thrilled to connect with you and discuss with you and have a meaningful dialogue. This you can do with people who are not just in India, but outside India also, but where your bandwidth matches and you have common interest. So always start with a common interest and here have a curious mind. So if my intent is to learn and to share, then I'm able to connect with a mentor, with a leader, and in conversations with them, eventually it might or might not, or maybe not immediately, but in a future state, will provide you opportunities which you couldn't even imagine. If I'm reaching out to, let's say, if you want to start accounting for a firm in US or in UK, and you follow some people who are already doing that, or somebody who is based out of there, doing that and talking about why we should outsource it to India, and then you start interacting with them, engaging with them, then over a period of time, those kind of opportunities might start coming to you. So this is just one example, but it has happened with me. It has worked with me, and it has worked with a lot of other people. So hence recommending this. Now it is what all we have discussed so far. I've tried to bring that into a framework which is called Connect Framework for Strategic Networking, which will help you transform your chance encounters into lasting alliances with 7 steps. Now, the acronym is Connect. So, Connect and networking is very close. So, you can use this Connect framework so to be able to network better. Now, what is C? C is for clarity. So, firstly, define what you want to achieve out from this network and what is your intention, and write that down. That, let's say, if my intent was to, let's say, now as a next step, if I want to promote my book, now my next step would be to reach out to people who are there in this domain and have conversations with them, and then get their inputs and promote my book. So my goal is to promote my book, increase its sales to XYZ level, and so that I have documented. Now, because I have a very clear goal, I would be reaching out to a specific set of people only. And then instead of reaching out with quid pro quo, saying that I want you to do this, can you please do this? On the contrary, I would offer value, proactively provide meaningful benefits to your connections. So, how I have done it in one or two other cases was I looked at their LinkedIn profiles, on their YouTube videos, I engaged with them in their comments. If something I found really beneficial and helpful, I reposted that with a header that this content is really amazing, and sharing it with my connections. And I think this will benefit you all. Then nurture that, develop and sustain relationships through consistent engagement. So after 2 or 3 comments and um, repost, we talked over DM and LinkedIn. Then we exchanged numbers and started talking over phone call. And there we didn't rush, or I didn't rush to say that this is what I want, but rather my objective, the goal, one of the goal was to network for that book, but then another goal was also to connect with that person and learn from them how they are doing, because I really appreciate the work that they are doing, the kind of post he is creating, the kind of content he is creating. Now we we continue to talk, we continue to speak, and then that person mentioned that, hey, I'm also thinking about writing a book on XYZ topic. Maybe if you can guide me through your journey, and that can help me get insights. So I was able to add value through that. And then I asked him that maybe we can do a podcast together once you launch your book, so we can speak more about it. And similarly, he also reciprocated that maybe we can do a podcast for your book as well. So you need to have meaningful conversations and nurture those relationships and network across arenas, expand connection beyond your familiar circles to diverse fields. Whenever I interact with an engineer, let's say, so I'm really interested in understanding how AI is growing, or how agentic AI will unfold now that we are using um, ChatGPT, Copilot, these things a lot day in, day out. Now, what would be the next step? And what should I know better to be able to understand that? So, expanding beyond your current arena. Maybe I like to speak with someone who I like music and poetry, so I also want to have interactions with people who have similar interests. And if I like somebody's poetry, I reach out to them saying that I really liked it. Um, so that can also help you get broader perspective and also increase your circle of connections. Now, taking it back to the example from books, there was a person, he was my manager in my previous organization, and I went to him to gift him a copy of my book. And from that interaction, I got to know that he is an author himself, and he gifted me a copy of his book. And then later on, I came to know that he has interacted in the past with a variety of publishers. So if I plan to have another book in the future, then he could be my go-to person for guidance on that topic because then he can help me better. So if you expand across diverse fields, and not just that, maybe let's say tomorrow, if I start my own practice and I want to do something, and he got some opportunity related to internal audit, so maybe he can uh, refer me back and say that maybe why don't you check with him because I think he's good with what he do. So these are the kind of scenarios which can and will unfold if you let it grow organically and don't push and go into cold call and hard sales mode. So the objective behind networking is not to sell yourself or to market yourself, but the if the underlying objective is to network with like-minded people, learn from each other and grow together and mutual benefit is there, then all these things come very naturally. Which is when next step becomes important that you engage authentically. So C is for clarity, O offer value and nurture those relationships. Then next N is network across arenas and don't just restrict yourself and engage authentically. Build trust by interacting sincerely and transparently. It should not be the case that I am only interested in saying what I have to say and not interested in what other person has to speak, because in that case, it will not be a conversation. And when you have conversations, you are able to develop meaningful relationships, which in turn will provide you future benefits and opportunities. Then we move on to the next C, communicate. Communicate with intent. So once we have clarity, communicate with intent, convey a message very clearly, very purposefully, and very persuasively. If I have the best interest of yours in my mind, I would be able to communicate very clearly, very purposefully, and I would be able to pursue as well. Now, there's this thing you might have seen a lot of memes and related to direct marketing companies wherein they you need to add layers of members and then grow. So nothing against that, but those people, some of them are able to persuade others in such an effective way. Why? Because somewhere down their heart, they are also persuaded by the fact that this can bring a meaningful change in the life of people who really don't have a lot of opportunities. I um, I was asked by somebody to try and do this, but I was not able to do because somewhere down my heart, I knew that this is something which I might not be able to do, and it is not really benefiting the other person, so I cannot pursue them beyond a point. Now, if we take it on the contrary, um, there was a person with whom I interacted with. He got my life and health insurance done. So because I was so I believed in that what this entire concept is, and I really liked the plan that he was sharing for life insurance and everybody should have health insurance. I referred that person, recommended that person to six other friends of mine, and then he was able to sell 10 policies to his family members, to their family members, and to them. There, I had no personal interest. I got no money out of it. But I knew that this is something which can really help them and which they should do to have financial security. So, because I had their um, my intent was correct and I wanted to help them and I wanted to I had a purpose to have a good impact. So without, and there was no commercial gain for me in that transaction, I was able to persuade all those friends of mine and even people who are not friends but just acquaintances to buy that insurance because I knew, or I was rather convinced that this is something which makes sense for me and might make sense for them as well because we shared a common background. The next one is track and thank. And all this hard work that you have done, if this last step is not there, then all this will fade away with time. So, monitoring your progress, expressing genuine gratitude to reinforce bond, and staying in touch and doing that time and again is something which really build lasting relationships. You know, you have friends with whom, even if you don't meet for, let's say, 1 year, you're still able to have that. You can start from that same place where you left. Now, why that is there? Because you have actually invested years in building that relationship. So once you meet somebody, you liked them, you had a good conversation, maybe when you go back home, just give them a call saying that or drop them a message that I really liked our interaction and maybe let's reconnect sometime later on. If you are in different cities, when you visit each other's city, make sure that you meet each other, um, have a virtual connect every now and then. So these kind of frequent interventions ensure that the relationship is live and it's not transactional. At times, you might hear complaint from friends and relatives that the other person calls only when they have um, something or they want to get something done from the other person. And if that kind of relationship is there, gradually it fades away because then the other person knows that only when he or she has something which to derive something from me or to get some benefit, then only they reach out. Otherwise, they don't care. So you should be able to demonstrate that you are genuinely interested, and then what you'll get out of that relationship would be much more. And this is not just restricted to networking with people outside. This is for any relationship. It's just that in networking related, I mean, professional networks or social networks, the emotional investment is not as big as would be in the case of family or friends, but both of them functions largely on the similar principle. If you have mutual trust and respect is there and you follow up with intent, then these relationships progress really well. And these are the ones on which you can really bank upon and you can really trust. Now, speaking a little bit more about the Connect framework. Uh, so, with respect to clarity, define your purpose before identifying your audience. Understand your why you want to do this to sharpen your strategic focus. The purpose driven clarity will direct your network efforts effectively. You would not be doing this broad based and you would be very focused on what you want to achieve. And focusing on the why will help you target the right connections. It will not be the case that you are meeting everyone and then you would be very focused on whom you want to reach out to. Then offer value. Provide value generously to attract connections. I think the example which I gave of CA Vivek Avasti. So initially he started out by generously offering value, sharing relevant insights, helpful introductions, you can and your innovative ideas. And this generosity is will help you build trust and also provide you a magnetic appeal. Now, one thing is that if you are really trying to help others out there, firstly, you yourself will feel good that you are giving back in some way or the other. And then you would also have a magnetic appeal and some sort of respect in eyes of others because they also see you as someone who wants to help without uh, anything in mind. They don't want to get out of anything out of you, but still want to help you. So next level of respect built for that kind of person. Offering value encourage reciprocal engagement. Now, if you have offered value to somebody, they would also want that they offer you something in return. Now, they would also want to reciprocate that. Now, it might not be commensurating with what you have done, so it might not be equal, but the basic idea is that the thing that you send out in the universe, the good that you send out, you will receive it back in some form or the other. And nurture, cultivate those relationships through consistent engagement. Use your gentle reminders, thoughtful follow-ups, and timely check-ins. Now, you might have all have also experienced this in your lives, that there are people who might send you um, daily messages. People have this what do they call it in WhatsApp? They broadcast the messages, and they have an emailer list which they send out like anything. So all those things, I mean, they are good, but when we speak about nurture, the idea is again also not about quantity but quality. Now, instead of broadcasting one message on a daily basis, I mean, if you have something of value to offer, like during that phase when every other day uh, on GST we used to get something new, so you would have to communicate that on a consistent basis. But if you think that that is something which is not really delivering value, maybe doing something on a weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis makes sense, then go ahead and do that. And if you want to build a personal relationship, or bring in a personal uh, touch to that, you can ask people, like, if I have told somebody about my the name of my spouse or name of my children, and maybe in some interaction I mentioned that tomorrow's their birthday, and tomorrow is my child's first birthday, let's say, let's take an example. And if I get a birthday wish from that person, naturally I would feel very happy that this person remembered the same thing. So on birthdays, if you can send wishes, on festivals also, people simply send broadcast messages. On the contrary, if you can just call up, spend 2 minutes saying, let's say, Happy Diwali, or something like that, instead of forwarded messages, because forwarded messages are really irritating. You would just want to ignore or delete them. Wishing you all happy Diwali from Gaurav and family, and by sending it out to 1,000 people doesn't really make sense because the other person sees no personal touch and value in that. On the contrary, if I call up 10 people who really matter to me, telling them that I'm really blessed to have you in my life, and it makes the festival special if I speak with you, then that relationship goes on and build even stronger. And I don't recall name, but there's one very famous business person. I think it was John D. Rockefeller, but I might be wrong. So he used to maintain a diary, and whatever personal details he know about people whom he has met, he used to write that down. And let's say he used to write down what is the birthday of this person, or what are the special dates that matter for this person, and what really matters, and what they are experienced at it, and what is their interest areas. So he used to make notes of that, and during the follow-up conversations, he used to bring up those topics. Now, if I see that you have remembered the detail which really matters to me. Now, let's say if somebody is a pet lover and has a pet named Coco, which happened in the case of one of my past colleague from US who was visiting India recently, and we met for a dinner. And I asked her how is Coco, and mm, because he was not keeping well, the dog was not keeping well. I asked her how is he now. So that really made the conversation more appealing for her and engaging for her. And she was also interested and she liked the fact that I remembered those kind of details. Now, it might not be the case. You won't want to invest that much of time and energy everywhere, but wherever relationships matter to you, or you want to have a lasting network with that person, you should be able to do that. Treat relationships like garden that require care to bloom, and consistent nurturing establish a strong foundation for partnerships. So we are not looking for, let's say, in the old time we used to have people with 1,000 Facebook friends, and as kids we used to think they are celebrities. Now we have people on Instagram, on Twitter, have millions of followers, on YouTube. Similarly, on LinkedIn, people say I have 40K connections, and then try and position themselves as influencers and things like that. But the baseline idea is that how many of those people you meaningfully engage with, and they also reciprocate meaningfully, and so that you can actually derive something of value from the efforts that you've spent on these social media platforms. Engage authentically, listen with empathy to understand the true needs, what the other person want and what are their challenges. Speak with intent to convey clear and meaningful messages, and show up as a human first and professional second to build trust. You should be able to demonstrate your empathy and show that you are genuinely interested in them as a person and later on as a professional. Communicate with impact, craft introductions as compelling stories. If I introduce somebody that, hey, this is CA Ashish, and he's working with XYZ organization, or he has a great practice in this thing. On the contrary, if I tell them a story, that let me tell you a story about Ashish. So we were doing articleship together, and there was this audit client which was very difficult, and we were really struggling with that person. And then came in Ashish, and then the way he handled the entire thing, and he modified, updated the report in 2 hours and delivered it so strongly, and then crafted the message, and so that we were able to really close the meeting very effectively, or he was able to deep dive into things that really mattered. Instead of focusing on 10 observations, he focused on two, dwelled on that, added content there so that we can really make an impact. Now, when I introduce somebody like this with a story like this, now that would really have a lasting impact. And stories are something which really help you recollect things. So my fundamental understanding, or my belief is that if I am making any presentation or any training, so person who's coming out of it should carry some things with themselves, which is why I try to have this connect framework. So now, if 1 month down the line, somebody attending this webcast, if they try and recall what we learned from this, so there was a connect framework, so which was talking about speaking with meeting with clarity, offering value first, nurturing the relationship, engaging authentically, communicating with impact, tracking interactions, and thanking. Track and thank. So now they will remember that there was this framework connect which had different topics. So that communicating with impact, with having very crisp, credible, and memorable messages will have a lasting impact. Now, track interactions systematically. Make consistent record of connection, whom all you interacted with, what you discussed. Like I said, some people maintain a log, and these days it is so easy. You can, I mean, after your conversation, you can just take out 1 minute on your you can open a note, and there are multiple apps like Notion, etc. Also there on, also you can keep a track. Just log 2 3 in voice message, log 2 3 key items. It will automatically get translated into text, and then you can save it for the future with that person's name. And wherever whenever you are going to have another interaction with that person, you can simply open that, see what all things we discussed last time, and start from there. So that will really give you an edge. And so track and thank was the final one. And thank to build loyalty and legacy. Express genuine gratitude promptly and often. So promptly and often are something with which um, I have seen in most of the organizations I've worked with. There's a lot of struggle. So you need to build systems to be able to do that. So um, generally also we should follow a practice of expressing gratitude, not just to people outside, to our family, to our friends. And if somebody has helped us, maybe let's just go out of the way and appreciate what they have done and do that often. Sometimes what we feel that this is a okay thing that he has done for me, but once he'll do something bigger for me, then I'll maybe express my gratitude and create lasting relationships through consistent appreciation. So we should do that consistently and create a lasting impression and do that often, time and again. And with this, there's a recent conversation which I remember I was having with my wife. I told her that I have seen a pattern with successful people or other couples. So in terms of joking on each other, generally you would have wife jokes or husband jokes. But when I see accomplished couples who are really doing things, meaningful things together, I've seen a pattern that they appreciate their spouse a lot, and that too publicly. So they would go out and say that my husband is a great man. He has done a lot of sacrifice, and he's really special with this. And the husband would say that wife has done this and that, and I really like this about her. So this is not just restricted to intimate relationships, to network also. If you consistently appreciate one another, what that also do is, firstly, it builds a reputation for you that this person is really praising somebody who has done something nice. So this person is also a nice person because he believes in giving credit where it's due. So firstly, you are building a reputation for yourself. At the same time, now through your word of mouth, you have also created opportunity for the other person. And let's say if somebody is doing that for you without you not being there, the opportunities are getting created for you as well. So have consistent appreciation, and once people see doing somebody doing that, these are the things which are really easy to I mean catch upon, and people start doing that or reciprocate that for the other person as well. Now, we'll trying and summarizing in the next half an hour what we've discussed so far. So prioritize value-driven content that is speaking clearly and resonating with your audience. And this is not just restricted to YouTube, LinkedIn, or things like that. If you are presenting something, so wherever you go, you are carrying a brand for yourself. So firstly, you should take out time to plan for things, prepare for them, and always think from the mindset that what my audience would be interested in. So prioritize and how I can add value to them. So prioritize that value driven content which is resonating with your audience. Thought leadership. Now in your practice or while doing your job, you should, like, because we started with having pursuing excellence in a particular domain. So once you are up to date on a particular topic, you speak on that day in, day out, you read about that day in, day out, you develop thought leadership, meaning you have quality and clarity and not posting volumes. So you are on LinkedIn, you are not somebody who is, I would put something on a daily basis, be it even if it is trash. But if there is something which is meaningful, I would definitely go ahead and do that, and do that consistently. So develop thought leadership, and wherever you are saying something, you are posting something, have it in mind that that particular post will impact your brand. So how am I going to do that? Digital etiquette creates respectful, nuanced conversations online. So even if you disagree with somebody, please remember that, let's say on LinkedIn, it's a professional uh, platform, and similarly, otherwise also be respectful, even if you disagree with the other person. So agree to disagree is the term. If you can do that, and share your points, or whatever your views respectfully, so that the other person is not hurt, and you also maintain a certain decorum. The way you carry yourself, it not only creates a certain respect for yourself, also the other person would feel that because because you are so much respectful towards them, they also won't be able to disrespect you, and naturally will have a higher level of respect for you. Engage meaningfully within groups where respect governs discussion. So people speaking over each other, those 9 p.m. debate on news channels. So there's a reason why people have stopped watching those, right? Why? Because they everyone is talking over each other. There's nothing meaningful coming out of those debates. If question is asked about one topic, they start talking about another topic, which will ultimately shift the blame to the other person or other political party, and this goes on. And with time, people understand that this is all rubbish, which we need not, this garbage we need not fill in our minds, and rather have meaningful discussions with people wherein we can learn something new, broaden our horizon, and discuss something, and get meaningful outcomes as well. So wherever, it is very important that you set boundaries, and if you see somebody who is going beyond those, you draw the line saying that this is where we need to maintain decorum, and then we cannot go into the other direction. And once you master these elements, you will boost your digital networking success. So this is driven towards what you can do over YouTube, over LinkedIn, and with my experience in YouTube, uh, consistency is the single most essential thing if you really want to develop content. So there might be days where you might want to procrastinate, but if you do that consistently, even on LinkedIn, so if you are consistent and you are value driven, then definitely you would be able to get a good digital reach. And the baseline idea, the why of you are doing it, should be to add value to others and not to promote yourself, because your promotion would be a byproduct of what you are already doing. If this mindset is there, then you would naturally want to put in more efforts even when you are not able to engage with a lot of audiences, because that will give you the motivation, or rather, I would say inspiration, to be able to do that on a consistent basis. So, if you want to be consistent, start with a value driven focus. Now, powerful tools which you can use to grow your network. Use a strategic network map. So, you need to visualize and organize inner, middle, and extended relationship circle for targeted networking. So you need to identify certain set of people or type of people with whom you people you want in your inner circle of network. In that inner circle, accordingly, you would be planning that how frequently you want to engage with them and how much time you want to devote for them. Then have a middle circle of network wherein and these inner circle people would be able to have maximum impact or should be able to have maximal impact on what you're doing. And the middle circle people are able to bring in more opportunities. So there you are not investing as much time and energy as with people within inner circle, but you are reaching out to them on time and again basis. And the extended relationship circle wherein on case to case basis you might need to interact with them. So you need to map people, and then for them you need to write down that how I am going to engage with these people. Apply the business opportunity radar by listening attentively for clues and openings in daily conversations to uncover new prospects. So another example, if somebody is speaking that, hey, I was struggling, or the other person was struggling with this topic, and you have good knowledge about that topic, or you know that you can actually add value there. So be attentive and listening to them, and then you can pitch in that. It's funny, but I was reading about this the other day, and maybe this is something which I am interested in and might be able to add value. But for that, you need to listen carefully. So if your only focus in is in saying your pitch, then you would miss out on all these opportunities which you will get by listening to the other person. Activate the reciprocity engine, a system where value giving creates ongoing opportunity cycle, keeping connections vibrant and effective. So your endeavor should be to give value first. It should be to give something to the other person first, and it will reciprocate in time. And let's say this is a funnel which we are creating naturally. If I have done something meaningful for 10, 20 people, it might start coming in different forms and shape. Build your connect strategy. So identify three target personas. So while you are identifying inner circle, you need to bifurcate them into three categories. Do you want the person to be your mentor? Do you want the other person to be your collaborator? Or do you want the other person to be your opportunity catalyst? So, first person whom you can reach out for guidance on how to do certain things. Second person with whom you can collaborate and bring in efficiencies while working together. Or the third person who can help you get opportunities. Maybe the first person, if I speak with in our regard, um, let's say I'm a DirectX professional. So my mentor could be somebody who has a um, old practice in direct taxation, and I'm really fascinated by the cases they've handled and the clients and situations they've handled. So I reach out to them for mentoring or have a very massive client base. Collaborators are people, let's say somebody is interested in working or in 5 states, and I know a friend in 4 other states. I have friends, so those could be the collaborators. And if the person wants that, maybe I can give you my direct taxation, but I need somebody to look after my accounting in 4 states as well, so you can refer them and you collaborate together. Or there could be opportunity catalysts. So people and these opportunity catalysts need not be from the same domain. So we initially talked about expanding your horizon. People from different walks of life know what you do and have a sense that you do that really nice. or you do that well, so they might bring in referrals and opportunities, and they might act as catalyst, bringing in new opportunities. Then define the five value offers that you have. You can provide expert insights on certain things. You can provide introductions for other people or referrals, as we might call it. You cannot provide expert insights because you are occupied with something, but you can provide resources. It could be uh, connections with other people or reading material or anything. You can provide resources. You can provide thought leadership that which is closely related to expert insight, but expert insight would be on case to case basis, and thought leadership is more towards the general topics. And you can provide support. So these are the five ways in which you can support the other person. So we've talked about how we can start with offering value first. Then choose one visibility platform to maintain consistent presence. Select one platform that this is something which works for me, or I like this platform, and be consistent on that. If you try and do everything, I will be posting something on Instagram, on LinkedIn as well. I want to be consistent on YouTube as well. Then every now and then on Threads or YouTube or Threads or Twitter also I'll do something. So that might make it too much for you, too much on your plate. So choose one platform which works for you best and be consistent on that platform. Craft a 30-day engagement rhythm. So craft a 30-day plan that this is how I'm going to engage with mentor, collaborator, opportunity catalyst. These are the ways in which I am going to offer value as expert insight, introduction, resources, thought leadership or support. I'm going to do that on LinkedIn. Daily, I'm going to put a post. I'm going to read posts from people who are from the similar domain. I'm going to comment on their posts, which are meaningful. I'm going to share posts which I find relevant. I'm going to send messages to people whom I think I should connect with, have um, coffee with, let's say, one person every weekend. So that kind of plan you can create, and practice role plays for introduction. Just go prepared, practice role play for follow up, reconnections to build confidence and effectiveness. So firstly, prepare that in your mind, do role play in front of mirror or something like that. And and once you are there, you will be more confident, you'll be able to do that more effectively. Now, on this slide, we will try and summarize whatever we have discussed so far. So this is the final slide that I have. Um, Drive growth through strategic connections. So build influence by progressing from competence to trust, then to opportunity and expansion. So it starts with competence. You will have to be good at something to be able to network. If you don't have anything to offer, why would somebody want to connect with you? It could be very specific domain or very specific thing, but or it could be even broad based. I mean, um, I have I know thousands of people whom who I can interact with if I'm good with getting financing for somebody, or somebody know thousand CA firm if let's say a physical verification opportunity comes in for Pan India. So I am the person who can really do that, because I can connect with thousand firms at 100 firms at once, and get it done in cities. So it's not just that you need to develop expertise in a particular domain, but develop some sort of expertise or competence and demonstrate that time and again, so that people start trusting you. And once that trust is built, you will get opportunity and you will be able to expand. So this is a cycle. You will, in order to demonstrate competence, at times you, I mean, it can become a chicken and egg situation also. You might say that how can I demonstrate competence when I'm not getting opportunity? So you then need to follow that social media platform plan, or something like that, wherein on a consistent basis you are showing up on that platform and you are delivering something meaningful to add value to your audience, to your target audiences, and you are doing that consistently. So that also is able to help you establish competence and building trust. Reconnect with three key contacts to strengthen your network. So this could be one key takeaway for you today. So as a next step, you need to reconnect with three key people today. Attend one relevant event to create fresh opportunities. And this time around, go with a different mindset. Maybe it could be as simple as, let's say, maybe earlier you were carrying 50 cards, 50 contact cards with you. Now, this time around, you consciously kept 10 cards and you say to yourself that I want to connect with 10 like minded people, exchange cards with them, have meaningful conversations, or not even 10, 5 people, and you carry only those 5 cards with you. So you know that every card I will give only to the person to whom I know I can have a lasting or a better chances to have a lasting network with. So then you are not wasting your energy in trying and meet a lot of people, but rather focusing your energies on meeting the right set of people. Share one valuable insight to showcase expertise and engage peers. Now, find a topic of your liking, read about it, debate about it, derive insights, and have some sort of framework in your mind through which you can communicate that effectively and clearly. Offer meaningful value to 5 people to deepen connections. Now, if you know in some way or the other, if you can really offer meaningful value, do that. Like I post another example for resume writing tips. I posted on LinkedIn that this is how you should craft your resume. Now, then I said that maybe if you want to get your resume reviewed, you may send those to me in DM, and then I'll go through that. Then I picked the resume that I received. I go through that. Then I write down the notes. Then I share the notes with the other person, how these could be improved. If the other person wants to have another round of discussion, we connect over phone and I explain in detail, and maybe the revised version I review it again for further comments. So identify how you can add value and do that meaningfully. It's not that just at the surface level. And remember, business scale through numbers, but thought leaders scale through networks. And network in today's time is net worth. The kind of people you know, you are really average of 5 people you sit day in day out with. So those just make sure that you are focusing really and meeting the right set of people and engaging with them. Now, because we have discussed all this, let's go back to another story, um, which again, sorry, just I'll just take 1 minute to drink water. So I was working with KPMG at that time and was coming back from Kolkata. Yes, from Kolkata in a flight, and I saw CA Kamal Garg sir. I he took one GMCS class which I attended. So I reached out to him to say hi, and then I found the opportunity. So I asked the person sitting next to him if he can switch seat with me. So we sat there, exchanged number, have a a really nice conversation about how things are going on, what he likes about uh, young professionals, and what he expects them to do differently, and then how CA teachers are doing things. There were a lot of protests going on at that time, things we liked, things we disliked. So we were discussing on a variety of topics, and there we built a meaningful connection. We exchanged numbers. When I came back, I dropped him a message um, saying that I really liked our interaction and would love to stay in touch for the future. Then afterwards, a relative of mine, um, who's also a CA, in his practice, he agreed for an engagement, and there were challenges. He wanted to resign from that company as an auditor or something like that. There were few challenges, and he wanted to have some opinion from somebody. So I reached out to Kamal Garg sir asking for help, and he was gracious enough. He spoke with me, share how we can handle that situation. Then he had a discussion with my relative also, shared insights with him also, and then comforted him and ensured, made sure that uh, we do the right thing and in the right way. And then on festivals, I used to text him and call him up whenever there's any major milestone that I achieve. So I continue to water that opportunity. And he also reciprocated. I mean, on my LinkedIn post, he used to comment and things like that. So uh, when my book's draft was ready, I shared the draft with him to review. I looked up in Google and found out that he has a India focused book on internal audit, um, which had more academic insights, but I wanted to structure it differently, but still it was relevant. So I reached out to him. He had a look at my book, shared comment, and then shared a review also, which ultimately got published in the book itself about the book. So so there, this is another example of how a conversation wherein we were equally interested in each other and then we engaged with each other really helped us expand. And then um, I mean, he practically didn't gain anything out of all this, but he was really interested in the discussions we had, and he genuinely wanted to help. So he helped me, and we're grateful to him for that. But just want to showcase that through these examples, that how we can really have a good relationship, which ultimately forms part of your network. And these people, um, when given chance, when provided opportunity, if they can, they will go out of the way to support you. So this was another example which I really liked, um, or wanted to share with you all. Now, since I was talking a lot about the book, maybe I'll just show on screen also. So this is the book that was launched in July. I was keeping it with myself, and it's there on Amazon. It's called Dig in the Well. It is primarily for internal audit professionals, or students who want to start out in the field and read about the topic. So you can also check this out or reach out to me if you want to discuss about this. But this idea for the book also was very interesting. Somebody said, Abhijit sir only said, if you want to showcase your expertise, and this goes back to demonstrating your competence also, that if you want to demonstrate your competence in a particular domain, then why not do something about it? So I thought maybe writing a book would be a better way to do that. And this also helped me connect with people. Now you develop competence, then you create something based on that competence, and you leverage that as a tool to further expand your network. Now, what I did with this, I reached out to different people whom normally I wouldn't have the opportunity to meet and connect with. So there's a college in Gurugram for risk professionals. So people who are not chartered accountants but still want to pursue um, a risk and an audit and internal audits and those kind of field. So it's an institute for those people. Now I reached out to the dean of that institute saying that maybe this is something which could be useful for your students also, and maybe I would want to show and give gift a few copies for library of your college so that students can get a chance to uh, read this book and learn from here also because it has practical insights. So he called me up. I got the opportunity to meet dean of that university or college, have an interaction with him. Um, then we are planning some sort of leadership session with the students also. So one thing bringing multiple opportunities. Now, with the book, I shared it with my bosses in current organization. They also really liked what I am doing and appreciated, and then shared it with other leaders within the organization outside of finance, which helped me gain visibility, better visibility that I am doing something outside of the job as well, which is towards helping or creating value to others' life. So, uh, demonstrating competence and having skill set in a particular domain and ability to communicate that effectively is something which instead of so networking and marketing are related, right? So there's a concept of push marketing and pull marketing. So you would want to move away from push marketing, wherein I'm pushing my things that this is what I have done and read my book, hire me for this thing, hire me for that thing because I am great. Instead of doing that, you do pull marketing. How you do that? This is what I have to offer. I think this is how it can help you and to the other people. I would like you to uh, give me a chance to present that to you. And if you find it relevant, maybe we can share it with others. So we are going ahead with offering value first, and then it might turn into more opportunities in the future. So I just want to stay with this slide for 2 minutes. So and reiterate whatever we've discussed so far, because I want if you apart from the stories that we have discussed, what I want to you to take away from today's session is connect framework. So have clarity on whom you want to, what is your networking goal, and what are your intention. Offer value proactively, provide meaningful benefit, nurture those relationships, develop and sustain them through consistent engagement. Network across the arenas, expand connection beyond your familiar circle, expand it to diverse field, engage authentically. Being authentic really makes you stand apart. If if you are just somebody who's following the herd and you have nothing new to offer, then people are not really interested in um, investing their time and energy. And if you have your views which are authentic and you stand by them and you are able to demonstrate that through those particular frameworks or ways and means that you have developed, certain things can be get done, then you develop a certain level of or a different kind of respect for yourself and communicate with intent. You should know that what you want from your messaging. There should be a clear purpose, and if you have right intent at heart, you would most definitely be able to persuade others. And never forget to track and think. Monitor the progress and express genuine gratitude to reinforce the bond and to have a continued interaction and have a continued bond with the other person. With that, I would like to invite Pragya Jain ma'am if she has any comments or something to add.
Check our chat box, sir.
Sure.
Sir, one question is there you can also see, or would you like to read this? Could you please share name of the application you mentioned for maintaining interaction notes?
So there is an app called Notion, Notion. So that app I find very helpful. I'll put that in chat also. So this you can use for tracking not just interactions but your task as well. And it could be even something as simple as the note-taking app in your phone. Some people like to maintain diaries also, the hard way. Sorry, the old way. So that also you can do.
It's the same question. Any app helping track pending tasks that you recommend? Thank you, sir. So no further question. No further question we can see, sir. So you can continue, or do we conclude here?
Okay, I see another question. I am
Yeah, yes.
Darshil
One
by
more
Agarwal.
question, sir.
Could you
Yes, sir.
please share 5 books which were suggested to you? Okay, so the first book which I liked was there was a book on Tatas, how Tatas have built their empire. Um, then there's another book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. So it is a very old book and it is still relevant today. So that is something that I highly recommend, and it was recommended to me as well. Another book was, I mean, it was primarily because my focus was on corporate. So those books were on corporate. One was speaking about uh, the journey of Amul, how Dr. Verghese Kurian created Amul. Another book is called It Happened in India, or That Happened in India. So that book is talking about how Mr. Kishore Biani built Big Bazaar in India and created that franchisee. Another book is called The Indigo Story, so how Indigo was built. So all these books are essentially helping understand how different people build businesses from scratch and what they did the right way. Um, Good to Great is another book which you can refer. Um, it is uh, that book will also, I think, provide very meaningful insights to you. Um, uh, l- if you'll just allow me 2 minutes, I think I have a lot of these books on my Kindle also. Maybe I can put few names in the chat, which I personally, apart from what he recommended, I like from an overall learning and development perspective. Okay, so the book I was talking about, which was on Dr. Verghese Kurian, is called I Too Had a Dream. Very insightful, very good storytelling. It will tell you the milk revolution, white revolution, how it happened in India. Then Indigo story we've already talked about. The Maruti story is similar on how Maruti Suzuki was built in India. And all these books, what they also do is you are not just learning about these topics, you get content to speak with people. So now because you read, you also know a lot of things which you can speak with different people. Another book is called Banker to the Poor. Now, the current president of Bangladesh. He was the person who created Grameen Bank and for which he got Nobel Prize also. So this story is about him, how he created this. I mean, political ideologies and all that aside, but this book is a great example of how businesses and professionals can create a lasting impact on the society at large. Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. This is this is one of my favorite because it talks about uh, that 10,000 hour rule. So this is something also that you need to spend 10,000 hours to be able to achieve excellence in something. You need to work on it for 10,000 hours. Okay. How to get information on capital markets through networking. Um, it is important, firstly, you need to identify people who really know about capital marketing or capital markets. You can find them through LinkedIn or through YouTube or through social media, and stay away from the fluff. And it is not just restricted to capital market. For any topic, people who are just doing for the sake of it, creating reels just to become famous, those people will have different sort of content. The people whom I like is on YouTube. If you find somebody who has, let's say, 10K, 20K, 30K subscribers, is posting quality content. Video quality might not be great, but content is very rich. Even on Harvard related videos, you will find views are not so high, but but the quality of content is very good. So find out such YouTube channels and people on LinkedIn and engage meaningfully with them on their LinkedIn post or on YouTube in comment section, and then try and have conversations with them through messages and through those comments. I think that's how you can get to know people from any field.
I think no more question as of now I can see.
Okay,
Yes, yes, sir. So can we conclude this, sir?
sure, ma'am, we can.
Yeah. Thank Thank you for your enlightening session. And for this formal vote of thanks again, it's a great privilege me to give vote of thanks to Gaurav ji. And it has been such an honor to be part of this wonderful webcast on skillful networking, unlocking opportunities for business expansion, organized by the Professional Skill Enrichment Committee of ICAI. On behalf of the Professional Skill Enrichment Committee of ICI, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our today's speaker, CA Gaurav Devalji, and his enlightening session, and a wide round of applause and thanks to the organizer, Professional Skill Enrichment Committee of ICAI, our today's speaker, CA Gaurav Devalji and Deulji and other stakeholders made this webcast a memorable one. Finally, we would like to thank all of you present here and helping us make this webcast a grand success. Thank you. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Bye bye. Have a great day.
Bye.